Hey guys, so I know that the lighting is actually not that bad. It's actually like pretty bad, but that's because I'm in my room right now. If you hear a slight whirring sound, there's a fan just back there. Right there, if you can see it, that's my little fan. I turned off my big fan so you guys can actually hear me. But what I want to talk about today is the 12 plants that I'd like to have in the future. Maybe like in the next like 6 months or so, because I'm broke and plants are kind of hard to get around here. So yeah, and then after I'm kind of going to show you the plants that I missed in my plant tour, which are kind of these plants up here, because for some reason I didn't put that footage in, and the plant that was on my desk. And then also I got some new plants, which I was going to be putting on this list, but then I got them. So, yeah, and I promised that I would have done this in the last video, but I kind of thought it's kind of own video, so then I could really explain it, because then that video was already kind of long. So, yeah, that's what we're going to be doing today. So the first plant that I would really like, these are, by the way, like in no order, they're just kind of how I wrote them down. And I don't have like the scientific like Latin names, I just have their like most common names that I could find for them. And I'm not really the person asked for like research on them. I'm just kind of, these are just the plants that like aesthetically I would really, really love. Not even spaciously, because I'm like totally running out of space for plants, but I would just definitely really love these plants. So, the first plant that I would really like is a Swiss cheese plant. You might know them as like a split leaf plant or any kind of monstera plant. That's kind of the term they use for them. They're basically like they're really popular right now, and they're basically the ones that are like big leaves, and they have like the splits in them and the holes in them, and that's why they're called Swiss cheese plants, because they look like Swiss cheese. But I would really, really love this kind of plant. It's definitely one of my favorite plants. I would totally love one. I don't even know where I'd put it, because they get pretty big if you get a really big one. Of course, you can get a smaller one, but I would like kind of like a tree-ish size one, maybe in my corner. I don't know, because it's behind my door, but I would find a place for it. I would find a place, and I would baby it. My aunt has one, and I saw it, and she was like, he really likes to hug you, and I was like, I really want one. I want one so bad. So, going on to the next one is another one that's actually pretty popular. It's a Chinese money plant. They're like the ones that are they're pretty stemmy and have leaves on each stem, and they have kind of the medallion, that's why they're called money trees. They're kind of like a medallion, like limey, kind of a limey greeny color. But I just think they're really cute, and I just would really, really love them. They're kind of smaller, so it would probably be something that'd be hanging out around here maybe. If I clear off some stuff off my windowsill, if I get another shelf in here, I would totally probably maybe put it in here, or maybe up on top of my desk. That would maybe be a good spot. Another one, this one is kind of a hard plant to take care of. It's an asparagus fern. They're not actually a fern because it's an asparagus plant, but it's an asparagus fern, and they're kind of like tree kind of bonsai, where it kind of like has like the shoots, and then it kind of has the ferns that kind of spread out like this, and different shoots that come off, but they're really finicky. They like a lot of humidity, and my house is really dry, so I don't even know if it'll live in my house. I would just really like one. It'd be so great. So then, my next one that I would really like is a rubber tree. They just look so amazing, and they come in so many different variegations, and it would just be so cute to have them. And then the next one, number 5, is a lemon lime pothos. They are just the most gorgeous pothos I have ever seen. It's just, I know that a lot of people like golden pothos, which we'll get on to. And a lot of people just like regular pothos, but I think that lemon lime pothos are just really interesting because it's a really bright color, I guess. And then there's also a lot of people like neon pothos, which they're really similar in color and shape. They're kind of hard to tell in between, but either one I would be totally gladly to own, just because they would be just amazing to have. So, number 6 is one that I've like wanted for such a long time, and that's a string of pearls succulent. They it's a string of pearls. So like they kind of like come in like a tiny pot, and then on each string there's just these little green pearls that are kind of like a light mossy kind of sea foam green, and they just trail down, and they're really good if you have like a hanging planter, so that you can hang them and they just cascade down, and they're just so beautiful. They're so beautiful. And that goes on to number 7, my next one, which is a string of hearts, and those grow like wildfire, so it would be great to have like both of them kind of like on either end of my room, kind of hanging down, or like above my bed, kind of just like cascading down, creating this really nice like airiness, kind of regal. They're very beautiful. They're very, very beautiful. I totally suggest, and both of them are very easy to care for as far as I know. I know that string of hearts are very easy to care for. You just have to be careful again with watering and with sunlight, because you don't want to burn them. My next number 8 is a fiddle leaf fig. They're just beautiful, beautiful big leaves trees. I don't know if you, I say tree loosely just because they're really big and they're kind of like tree sized, as a houseplant tree size. Again, it would be kind of like a monstera, the Swiss cheese plant, where I would like to have it in one of my corners and just be like this big, leafy, regal, elegant thing that you would see like in like an office or a hotel. That'd be so beautiful. Again, this one, number 9, it goes with number 5 because they're both pothos, but a golden pothos. They're variegated, so they have um, kind of a medium green leaf, and then the variegation on them is kind of a gold yellow, which is where they get their name from. And they are just, again, really stunning, really great plants. Of course, pothos, as many people say, even though I don't have them, are really great starter plants. And again, they do well in hanging plants because they do have the trailing vines, kind of like ivy, even though they don't look like ivy. That's just kind of a comparison, where they trail down and they kind of attach to things, and that would be such amazing thing to have. And then number 10 is one that I would die for. It's any kind of snake plant. I just think that they're so like structural and architectural, and they just stick like the most common snake plants. I totally forget what the Latin version of it, because there's so many different cultivars and variegations and stuff like that. So it would just be great to have like the one that just goes like straight up as like a nice like structural, like really like I don't know, they're kind of like industrial, which is weird because they're plants, but like it has a nice structure, like architectural kind of feel, because it doesn't even like look like a plant. It looks like it's like a sculpture. It's that pretty. It's so beautiful. I would so love one. And number 11 is kind of any kind of peperomia. There's so many peperomia, like so many different kinds of ones. I know that there's the stilted ones. I can't even think of any ones because I've heard of so many different kinds of peperomia. I would really like one that's more of like a succulent type, so then because it'd be much easier to care for, especially with light and water. So that would be very, very good to have. And if I'm looking down, I just have my notes of the list. And number 12 is I would just really like to grow like herbs, like mint or like sage or thyme or an onion maybe, just like food plants, which is like a category on its own, which is why I kind of have it last. because I kind of want to have my own like indoor garden where I can just make my food and make vegetables for myself rather than having to go out and buy them. Sorry, I'm really bad at eye contact with the camera. But it would just be amazing to just grow herbs and different kind of vegetables and stuff like that. It would just be great. So after this, I'll be showing you. So those are the 12 plants that I would really love in the future in the next like 6 months to a year. It'd be amazing. And if you guys have any like access to these plants, I would like to send me some. My email's in my about, and you can contact me on my Instagram and my Twitter. Probably I'll be most active on my Instagram because I am most active on my Instagram. So yeah. Also, I need some pots, some bigger pots, because my plants are getting a little big. So I would need some pots that are about like yay size, because all mine are kind of like that, and my plants are outgrowing them. So hit me up for some pots. I would like that. And if you guys have any of these plants or variations of these plants, that'd be so great if I could kindly get some. So yeah, next up is some new plants that I got. Alright, so guys, today we're going to be talking about the 3 newest plants that I've just recently got in the past couple weeks. You would have seen one of these in the plant tour just because I did the plant tour like just after I got them, but you may see kind of this one. And but there's 2 of them that are extremely new, just like a few days in my home, and I'm really excited to have them. So the first off, we're going to talk about the one that you would have seen in the plant video. So this is the one that you would have seen in the plant video, and this is a spider plant. And I have another one upstairs in my room. It only has kind of like the 3 leaves on it up on top of my bookshelf. But I really wanted a second one, especially this was a clearance plant because it was in a Halloween basket. And as you know, Halloween has just ended, so all of the Halloween themed stuff had gone on sale. And I was like, well, since I've been wanting another spider plant for so long, I kind of took the chance and begged my mom to buy it for me, and it's just a wonderful, easy plant to do. Of course, it's got a little bit of yellowing on it, but that's really nothing to worry about. It's just kind of if there's a little bit of too much salt in the water, you can easily flush it out, or if there's a fluctuation in temperature or light, or basically if you move it from one space to another, you can really get kind of these yellow tips. And if you see kind of the underneath is a little bit wilty, and that's basically because the over top of it is not letting the underneath get enough light. So I've been trying to put it in a space where the light's more focused, kind of facing, rather than on top where it was in the shop, because it was on a shelf. So that means all the top stuff would have gotten all of the light, and the bottom stuff would have gotten neglected. So I'm trying to find a spot where I can get the light kind of going right onto the leaves, so that it would grow kind of more upwards rather than the overhang that it has, even though the overhang is just stunningly beautiful. And I feel like spider plants, they kind of overhang on all sides, but I feel like this is kind of nice if you have it up against a shelf and you just have that kind of there, and it's really elegant and kind of stunning. As you can see, this is the kind, of course there's different variegations of spider plants, but this is the kind that has the white stripes on the outside and the green in the middle, kind of this medium green. And then the stems are a bit whiter as they go up, and they get darker as you get out. And that's kind of the variegation that it has. I believe that the one I have upstairs has a white stripe down in the middle, but of course that's just a different variegation of the same kind of plant. And you will find that in different plants that they have different variations, and it's quite common to find spider plants that look similar but a little bit different. So yeah, that's the spider plant. You would have seen it in my plant tour, but of course this is like one of the most common plants, one of the most easiest plants. It requires really not a lot of water. It can survive in high light to low light. It's a very easy, very versatile plant. Of course, it prefers kind of a medium to indirect bright light, kind of if you had a succulent or a tropical type plant, but it can do very well in low light. And as I said, the yellow leaves are kind of, you don't really have to worry about it. If you get a lot of them on a lot of your leaves, you might want to maybe flush out kind of your dirt to get rid of the salt, because you might have a little bit more of a fluoride content in your water, and it's really nothing to worry about. So yeah, that's the spider plant. And the next one is one that you might see here, and this is a plant that I had before, but I overwatered it and it started to rot, so I had to sadly get rid of it and it died. This is one that I recently just got in the past few days, and it is just stunning, as you can see, with the very architectural green spikes that have kind of a white stripe, kind of a light green white stripe down the middle, and then this kind of crimsony red on the outside. It's beautiful. I'll try and get a close-up of red, but I don't know if you'll be able to see it. But it's just a beautiful, beautiful plant, and it is a tropical plant, so it does enjoy a bit of humidity and less water in the actual soil, which is why some of the leaves here are wet, because I gave it a good spray today. But of course, because we're going into winter, you might want to water it less if you live in a colder climate. And again, kind of like the spider plant, you might get a little bit of these tips that kind of dry off, but just change your watering habits, change the lighting habits, and kind of experiment with it, because again, with all plants, you need to find kind of a sweet spot with watering and light with every individual plant. But I find that for a long time before it rotted and died, it had done extremely well on top of my bookshelf, but I don't have it there anymore, just because we are getting into winter and my room does get quite cold. So I found that it did not do well when it was cold, and that it did a lot better in the summertime. So I'm keeping it down here where it's warmer. I'm trying to keep it on the table, just where you would see, just behind you, by the window, just so it can get some light, but also not in the windowsill, because one, it wouldn't fit, and two, it does get cold at the window. I don't want it to get cold and die on me. So, but yeah, it's a wonderful plant, very, very beautiful. I just love how architectural and how just huge it can get. Like these can get quite big. They can get quite tall if you look after them for a while. And again, I don't know if you can see the red on the leaves on camera, which is quite a shame if you can't, because they are very, very, very beautiful plants, and quite easy to take care of. Hi. I'm filming. Lent? Dad? So yeah, that is the dragon plant, and it is quite wonderful and quite elegant, and it is pretty easy to take care of. So the next one is a very new one of mine, and it is commonly known as a holiday cactus, but actually it is a succulent, not even a cactus at all. As you can see, it has these nice magenta, deep pink these deep pink buds on it, which will soon flower into some nice deep pink magenta flowers. Stop. My sister's harassing me. I hate you. I hate you so much. I hate you so much. Anyway, these are commonly known as holiday cactuses, and that's really why, because there's 3 different types of them, and there's an Easter cactus, a Thanksgiving cactus, and a Christmas cactus. And, of course, they are named because of the times that they bloom near the holidays that they're named after. So, if you have an Easter cactus, it would bloom near Easter. If you have a Thanksgiving cactus, it'll bloom near Thanksgiving. If you have a Christmas cactus, it'll bloom near Christmas. So, they're kind of hard to differentiate because the leaves are quite similar, but if you kind of do a little bit of research and do a little bit of looking, if my sister will please be quiet as I'm trying to explain the difference between the 3 cactuses. The Christmas cactus kind of is very, very similar to the Thanksgiving cactus, but it is more rounder, and the roundest one, I believe, is the Easter cactus. It doesn't have these kind of spikes that the Thanksgiving cactus has. Now, this was, when I bought it, labeled as a Christmas cactus, as they are quite similar, and they do generally bloom around the same time as Christmas cactuses bloom in December to January, while Thanksgiving cactuses bloom in between October and December. So they kind of bloom around the same time, so they can be hard to differentiate. But this was labeled as a Christmas cactus, but I did some research and found that it is a Thanksgiving cactus, so it should bloom soon. As you can see, the buds are getting quite big, so it should bloom soon. And these plants get quite large. You can easily find them in hanging pots where they just fold down and hang down, and they really grow to be quite large, and they can live for a very long time. So they're a very nice succulent to have, and but they do get a bit picky when it's time to bloom. So throughout the year, you want to keep the soil, when it's non-blooming season, soil quite moist and in the plant in kind of like very bright light. When it is time to bloom, you want to keep the soil very dry and them in kind of a shadier spot where they don't get a lot of light, which is quite odd for a cactus or a succulent, but they're quite finicky kind of that way. But I have it just in the middle of my desk up right now, and it hasn't really done anything since I bought it. Then again, it has only been a few days, but I just really loved how the green stood out against the magenta, which is why, if you can see on the label here, I have named her Magenta, just because of the amazing, amazing buds that will soon bloom into the flowers. And I'll just give you a nice close-up of this plant. It is just so gorgeous and so beautiful, and it's really quite a treat to have, considering that it was going to be on my list for plants that I want, as well as the dragon plant, but I got them before I filmed that video, so they were not on there, which I'm quite fortunate about. And she is just a quite beautiful plant and really amazing to own. So those are the 3 plants that I've gotten recently, and I hope that you enjoyed this video and that it will, you know, be quite a treat if you guys could respond with any plants that you like, plants that you would like in the future, plants that you recently got. It would be quite amazing. And again, I will show you the footage of up above my bed that I didn't insert in the last video, which I don't know why, because I thought I did, but I didn't. So yeah, thank you for watching.